All right, so with the Buccaneers advancing to the Super Bowl, Tom Brady's 10th Super Bowl, right? It of course brings up the conversation regarding Brady versus Belichick and who was really the reason for that success over those 20 years in New England. Was it Tom Brady or was it more Bill Belichick, or was it like a combination of the two? Now, I have always firmly believed that in sports, coaching can sometimes get a little bit overrated. Yes, you want a guy who the players rally around and who they gravitate towards and who they respond to. Of course, you want that. But there's a certain amount of impact I think a coach can have on a team. And from there, of course, the rest of it is like the talent on the team taking over. That's pretty obvious, but it needs to be stated because we act like sometimes just because Bill Belichick or a great coach or Greg Popovich is the coach, that poof, you know, the team's going to be great like automatically. It doesn't quite happen that way. We saw that this year in New England. Now, I'll say, I thought the Patriots were going to have a better record than they did this past season. I thought they would have at least been in the playoff picture, right? But that wasn't the case, obviously. Then you got of course, like I said, the Buccaneers going to the Super Bowl. Now, the Bucs going to the Super Bowl, yes, Brady led them, but let's not act like he didn't try to throw away that NFC Championship game against the Packers, right? Brady had 3 interceptions and 7 passes, 3 consecutive drives. He gave the ball to the Packers by way of an interception, and they just did not capitalize on it. The Packers just could not get the ball in the end zone, or I wouldn't even be talking about this topic right now. But the success that they had in New England together, Brady and Belichick, just me, like we know about it was hard to pick it apart, but I feel like a hater, but just me, I can't overlook or forget or look past the controversy that's been around them, from the Spygate and the Deflategate and whatever else gate I'm forgetting. I can't ignore that. Do I think those are the only reasons why they were successful? No. But did that play a part? I think so. And do we know the full extent of what they had going on, you know, from a quote cheating standpoint? I don't think we know the full scope, and I don't think we ever will. But to answer my own question, who had more impact, Brady or Belichick? It has to be Tom Brady because he's actually playing the game. Bill Belichick has never thrown a TD pass or tackled anybody for the Patriots. So I'm going to give the edge to Brady in terms of who had the bigger impact in New England. Just those two. But again, let's not forget about the other extracurricular activities going on in New England that I mentioned. But sticking with football, the NFL, Deshaun Watson is unhappy in Houston. At first it was reported that he was just unhappy, right? That he may or may not want to get out. But now they're saying he officially has requested a trade from Houston. And if that's the case, which I assume it is, I'm not mad at him, man. Like after they traded DeAndre Hopkins last offseason, like out of nowhere, like nobody saw that coming. And for what? Like what did they get in return? And what was the reason even, you know, why they traded DeAndre Hopkins? Like, I don't even fully understand that still. So if I'm a quarterback and get rid of my number 1 receiver, arguably the best receiver, arguably in the league, you get rid of him for seemingly no reason, yeah, I'm gonna be upset too, and I'm gonna want to get out of there. It just seems like the Houston Texans, they're just like content with mediocrity, like forever. Because they've had some good guys come through, and then once they leave the Texans, it's like they have so much bad to say about the organization. So I don't know what's going on down there. But when it comes to Deshaun Watson and his trade request, he actually has a no trade clause in his contract, so they can't just package him and send him to Siberia without him agreeing. He has to agree to whatever trade destination comes on the table. But what I'm hearing, I'm sure you heard it as well, is at the top of his list in terms of trade destinations is the New York Jets.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm just confused, man. Like, if you are unhappy with losing in Houston, that's not the destination you want to go to. The Jets narrowly avoided being 0-16 last year to scrape together 2 wins, 2-14. So is it? That's why I feel like that report can't be true. He like the Jets number 1. I don't know where he'll end up, but if the Jets are really atop of his list, then I have to question what the motivation is getting out of Houston. Maybe you just can't stand everybody in the front office, and that's enough to get out of there and go to a situation that's probably on paper worse than where you are right now. All right. Shaq. It's like, it feels like it's Shaq versus current NBA players like all the time. Shaq is what Shaq does on TNT when he talks about, not even just TNT, like his social media, when he talks about current players and what he would have done against them and all that, and it comes across like he's hating. I don't think that he is, because Shaq is Shaq. Shaq is one of the greatest, top 10 players of all time, so I think he can say whatever he wants to say, but it's not received well by current players when he talks bad about guys in the league today. Most recently, it was like Rudy Gobert for the Jazz was about to get a bunch of money, like a huge contract. I forget what the numbers exactly were, but a huge contract, more than $100 million. And Shaq jumped on Instagram just saying, I'll just say how he disagreed with the money that Rudy Gobert was about to get. Here's what Shaq said, right? I don't want to even paraphrase what Shaq said. And Rudy Gobert takes it in stride. He's like laughing with it, and he's going along with the joke. And then most recently, Shaq, the Jazz had a game on TNT, and Shaq, for whatever reason, decided to tell Donovan Mitchell, who interviewed with the TNT crew right after the game, he told Donovan that he didn't think he was that good of a player. In case you missed it, here's what it looked like.
Father, this is Shaq. I said tonight that you are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose. I wanted you to hear it. What do you have to say about that?
All right. That's it.
That's it?
All right, that's it.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
I wanted you to hear it.
I've been hearing, Shaq, I've been hearing that since my rookie year. I'm just going to get better and do what I do.
Good.
At the end of the day.
Well, that's what I wanted you to hear you say.
Yes,
Love
sir.
your game, brother. Keep it up.
Appreciate it.
And listen, I think Donovan Mitchell handled that well. He handled that a lot better than I would have. I'll be honest with you. Like if I probably would have taken off the headset and walked away, because if I'm Donovan Mitchell, I'm confused. I'm like, why would you guys want to talk to me after the game if you're gonna tell me that you don't think I'm a good player? Like you don't interview nobodies after the game. You interview good players. So he handled it well. Shaq honestly, I have no problem. My take, I have no problem with Shaq doing that. Shaq is getting paid to analyze the game and give his opinion. If Shaq was, he said things that nobody cared about, he wouldn't be on the TNT crew. Do I think he's purposely just trying to hate on players for ratings? No, not necessarily. I think that's really what Shaq feels. He just doesn't feel like Donovan Mitchell is that guy. I disagree with Shaq. I think Donovan Mitchell can become that guy, lead the Jazz to a deep playoff run. I do think he's that good. But that's what Shaq feels, and that's what Shaq said. I don't think Shaq has an agenda other than stating his opinion. So he caught a lot of heat about this, obviously. And then Kevin Durant jumps in, and this was his comment. This is why, I don't like this, this whole this back and forth now. It feels like it gets out of hand because Kevin Durant's calling Shaq an old head, and that just means these newer guys, the current players, they're not I guess respecting tradition or respecting the guys who paved the way for them. But the other side of that is, how can you respect it if they're just haters? So I can see it both ways. I don't see anything wrong with what Shaq said necessarily, giving his opinion. But I don't think KD needs to respond like that. And I thought it was done after that. I thought it was done. It was quiet for a little while. But then Shaq was like,
personally, I think we ain't doing yet. Marcus.
And then he goes on his Instagram to explain why he's qualified to give these opinions. So it's never going to end. Shaq's going to continue to talk, and the current NBA players are going to continue to fire back. But sticking with the NBA real quick. A few weeks ago, John Morant rolled his ankle, right? He rolled his ankle, and he was out for several weeks. He jumped up in the air, he landed on someone's foot, and he rolled his ankle. He was out for several weeks. And when he was out, he tweeted this, that when he comes back, he's only wearing high-top sneakers, he's only wearing high-top Kobe's. Just real quick on that, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but just real quick. Why would an elite athlete who routinely jumps up and down and can't see what he's landing on all the time. I don't know why these dudes ever play ball in low tops. I don't get it. I don't get why these dudes choose to play basketball in low top sneakers. And like going back to like the 90s, even the early 2000s, like you never saw low tops. No one ever, they didn't even make low top basketball sneakers. Like to me, when I say that low top basketball sneaker, that just sounds like an oxymoron in my head. That doesn't make any sense. I think it began like, all right, when like with the Kobe's. I think that was the first ones I remember, the first popular basketball sneakers that were low tops. They were Kobe's. And then Kobe, if you remember, he tore his ankle. He rolled his ankle big time wearing his own low top sneakers, and he came back with the high ones. My only question is, one, why are these shoe companies making low top basketball sneakers, and why are these NBA players choosing to play in low top basketball sneakers? At some point, I'm probably going to spend more time on the evolution of low top basketball sneakers, because it makes no sense to me. All right, lastly, have you seen these recent NFL coaching hires? And it's weird because like you see guys who are seemingly qualified and seemingly paid their dues, like Eric Bieniemy, get passed over time after time after time again because they, quote, don't interview well. But then you got the Lions just hired somebody and the Eagles just hired somebody, and they had 2 introductory press conferences for both of these guys. And if Eric Bieniemy doesn't interview well, after I saw these 2 clips, how did these interviews go?
All right, and so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right, and when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you, and when you knock us down, we're going to get up, and on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down, all right, and on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down, and when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Next thing that's very important to me is that we build a smart football team, that we have a smart football team here. And I know we have the people in place to do that. The first part of that, the first part of being smart is knowing what to do. The first part of being smart is knowing what to do.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We're gonna have systems in place that are easier to learn. All right, complicated to the defense or offense that they're going against, or the special teams group they're going against, but easy for us to learn. Because when we can put that, when we can learn our system and we can get good at our system, then our talent can take over. Less thinking equals talent take over, but we need to have systems in place, and we will have systems in place to do so.
I have no further comments, Your Honor.